Hello, everyone, and welcome to another series of MEF webinar. My name is Matt Ikram. I'm the MEF advisor for Asia, and today, the topic of this webinar is digital divide to digital bridge, microfinance innovation across Asia. Um, and with me, I have two distinguished leaders and gentlemen, Mr. AJ Kashikar, CEO of FinBrain, and Mr. Prasad Patil, Chief Executive and Secretary of the Maharashtra Urban Co-op Banks Federation Limited. So just to set the stage, this is part of the webinar that we are launching the MEF Payment and Commerce interest group, and this is kind of the launch of that interest group. And to set the stage about why we're doing this this webinar, AJ and I discussed this, and we feel that this is a very timely topic. Micropayment, microfinance are becoming essential to serve, to bring the divide to the bridge across the communities, across underserved, underbanked groups within the Asia. So in this particular webinar, we'll be talking about the challenges, the opportunities, some of the innovation, the risks, the regulation, and we're going to focus that with India as in cooperation as an excellent case study, and that's why we are happy to have the Chief Executive Secretary of the Maharashtra Urban Co-op Banks Federation Limited. So with that, let me also introduce. Let me actually ask Prasad Patil to introduce himself. Yeah.
Hello everyone, myself Prasad Patil. I am heading the Maharashtra Urban Cooperative Banks Federation Mumbai, India as a Chief Executive and Secretary. I have experience of working for around 29 years in the cooperative sector, wherein I have worked with Urban Cooperative Bank in the capacity of a CEO, and I also had the privilege of working with Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India as an advisor, wherein it works as a regulator for the multi-state cooperative banks and multi-state cooperative societies. And currently our federation, which is heading the Maharashtra state and representing the all the urban cooperative banks from Maharashtra state. That is, number of urban cooperative banks in Maharashtra state is 460. Out of total, say 1472 banks across India. So you can say that almost 40% banks, urban cooperative banks, they are working and functioning in Maharashtra. So I'm heading this organization and very happy to join this webinar today.
Thank you, Prasad. AJ, can you introduce yourself, FinBrain, and what?
Sure. Thanks, Matt, and nice introduction by Prasad. I'm Ajay Kashikar, the CEO of FinBrain India Private Limited, which is a subsidiary of Singapore-based company FinBrain. And about me, I have 35 years of the industry experience, worked into the ERP and the BFSI sector, more than 20 years in BFSI, into the product development, implementation, audit, and support. My more focus is on to the product and a platform to the industry, and that's where it's matching to the objective of the FinTrain and myself to take our product into the industry to reach out to the. I worked into the Asia Pacific for more than 20 years in banking. And the current role is to see how we can facilitate, implement, and support to the banking sector to leverage their lending system, to support them and increase their business.
Wonderful. Thanks both Prasad and AJ for the introduction. So let's get into some let's go into some of the questions that I have for you both. The first question is trying to understand what is the situation, the state of financial inclusion in Asia, particularly in India, obviously, among the underbanked and or rural communities. So what is going on there? What are their participation level, and also what is some of the most urgent needs from this consumer base that you are seeing in urban as well as rural banking sector. So I would let either one of you can take this question. Yep.
I think today, in case financial inclusion, even the Central Bank of India, that is Reserve Bank, it is fully dependent on these urban cooperative banks and somewhat on the credit societies. More than urban cooperative banks, it is the credit societies which are actually playing a very big role in the financial inclusion of India. And they have one-to-one connect at the rural level and good spread among the small villages wherein you can say that the population is hardly 3,000 to 5,000. There also you will find that this cooperative credit unions, what we call it as a credit societies, they are playing a very vital role. And with this digitization phase, these societies, they are trying to reach out to the masses and reach out to each and every individual for getting them involved into the say financial system of India. So I think for financial inclusion, uh, we just cannot depend on the public sector or private sector banks. It is the major role played by the cooperative banking and the cooperative credit unions.
Perfect. AJ, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, that's correct. What Saad is saying, I'm agreeing to it. And I would like to add to things like the RBI, which is the central governing board or the bank, and the cooperative ministry. They are giving the major thrust of the digitization of the systems to the financial institutions who cannot transform the face in a short time. They are supporting and trying to leverage their digitization process fast, so the inclusion benefits can be reached out to the masses. That's another one. About the experience since last 20 years, I would say my experience, the brain experience is mixed. In some rural areas, the transformation is becoming a very key, and a surprising, a small village from about Pune, about 130 kilometer deep inside Maharashtra. I visited one of the credit union, and the credit union is having the all desktop or Apple desktop. So you can see the transformation or the inclusion is reaching to the level. They have 37, 40 branches, and their enthusiasm, the inclusion factor, I would say, at a very high level. Now, this is a completely unimaginable, where people are struggling at one side and some people are really taking a quantum jump and reaching to the masses. So that's the current state or the scenario in India. Most of the Asian development or the Indian development is more focusing on the inclusion. I would say the focusing on the digital identity. payment and data sharing within the borders. That's the key factor for this. In India, the transformation happened through the unified payment system, or publicly known as the UPI payment or Aadhaar or DigiLocker kind of initiative, and which has been exhibited in the SARC or the neighboring countries, and they also in the process of having the adoption of it. So these are the accessible systems and interoperable system, which definitely helps to the better inclusion to reaches to the masses.
Great, great. So okay, there's a lot to. Oh, go ahead, Prasad. Do you have comment there? Somebody has a. No worries. Okay, I heard some feedback, but no, I just want to kind of summarize the state here. I think from Prasad perspective, the role of co-op and credit unions are essential in complementing the public and the private banking sector to address the community. So that's where your organization come in, the Maharashtra Urban Group, to deliver this. Secondly, I think, and I maybe missed a couple of points here, but secondly is from AJ, your point of view, across the region, being able to do seamless payment transaction across countries, that's also a need. How do we lift some of this ability for both the underserved urban and rural banking communities to be able to do that. So on that premise, I mean, I think you mentioned about the Apple. So I would love to see how the mobile phone, because we're talking about the mobile ecosystem. So obviously, the usage and the how can these communities leverage the mobile phone in terms of micro payments, microfinance, micro banking. So maybe to follow up to AJ to this question, maybe you kind of maybe to add more color to this. AJ, what are the recent trends for you seeing in bridging the rural urban digital finance gap? What are the trends? What are you seeing? How is platforms such as FinBrain is fulfilling this role in one way or the other? Yeah.
Okay. If we look at the rural banking sector in India, the primary three things are important: need of digitization, geographical competition for the business, and the shortest turnaround and simplified software to the rural linkages. To address that, the one of the channel which is we're more focusing, and that's where Pinbrain is also pumping on, is the ONDC, that's the Open Network Digital the Commerce. And secondly, the DPI, the Digital Public Infrastructure, which promotes the openness and inclusion to deliver the services, including the access to the credit and the marketing. This will definitely help to the not only to the individual loan entities or the buyers, but also to the MSME segment, which is unaddressed at this moment large. And the FinBrain has a platform which offers the end-to-end digital lending system to give the complete digitized journey. And that's where we are getting more and more response from the urban banks, the rural banks, and the credit unions or the cooperative societies.
Right. So and so Prasad, how the Maharashtra urban co-op banks, how has it evolved? What do you have to do to evolve to meet the changing and consumer needs in these communities that you serve? What do you have to change? How do you evolve? What has happened so far?
Basically, from this Maharashtra Urban Cooperative Banks Federation, we do organize various meetings and programs for the member banks and for credit unions also, just in order to understand what are their needs. And in these training programs, we also invite various tech companies so that they can share their products or services with the credit unions and cooperative banks. And it after understanding the needs of this sector, we represent those things at the level of Reserve Bank of India and Government of India as well as the Maharashtra state government. Because ultimately, when it comes to any policy decision, the decision rests with the Reserve Bank of India and the government. So helps to uh, place the issues faced by the credit unions or the citizens who are living in the rural areas in front of RBI, or even it helps the tech companies to understand what are the exact needs of this sector and what people are expecting, and accordingly they can customize their products for serving the community better.
No, excellent. I think what you're saying is that this is actually an opportunity. I mean, this is there's a lot of opportunities in this market. You are calling for technologies, suppliers, providers to come and bring solutions to India and also across Asia. And I think we're talking not just about this application, but also the infrastructure. From I'm sure the telecom infrastructure to the services to the addressing the security and making sure that fraud is minimized and enabling different channel to be able to use like WhatsApp and messaging, I would imagine. So all these are actually innovation that are needed to be able to serve these communities. And I think there is actually a revenue, if we can, to be made from this. So on that note, AJ, maybe coming back to FinBrain, so give us a bit more some specific on the use case of how you guys are enabling affordable digital microfinance solution. How can it be? How can we? Is it mobile? Is it mobile first? AI powered, that's the word that I'm going to use. What are the mobile first AI powered approaches that could make this very accessible, easy, and with a massive reach.
Yeah, you actually answered a few of the things through your question itself, and definitely yes, the mobile first is the technology which is being used and in place by the FinBrain. The trend in India, if you look at the more digitization and reaching to the community with the mobile usage, which is increasing phenomenon. Obviously, people everything wants on the fingertips, and that too for the banking services as well. The challenges what the people see, and there exactly the FinBrain helps is the increasing the digitization efforts which banks are struggling, and the processing time is high. So we offer a technology, a platform which has the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and a platform which does the thorough analysis of the data which resides in the bank premises, churn it out on a continuous basis to see to it that it helps a bank to generate more business by doing the various types of analysis that it had the 5,000 more than 5,000 data sets which help bank definitely to churn out the data in a different way to figure it out where to focus, what kind of the loan types is expected, what are the loans to be proposed, what the schemes or the campaigns to run. And during this journey, the digitization process, which is a workflow based enabled through our platform, which reduces the time. For example, a one loan which typically a bank requires to a sanction or the sanction loan documentation, it takes about 3 hours. Say for a gold loan, it requires 3 hours to process. Within our platform, it just does in 5 minutes. Naturally, it saves the time, energy of the people, and as well as it brings an accuracy. So the people mindset is free for using the brain for more productive activities rather than the pain work. So that's where the FinBrain adds a value to the bank.
Great, wonderful. So maybe I want to ask a question to Prasad. In terms of technology and innovation in microfinance, from your perspective, what are the tools, partnership that you have adopted today, in under your federation to drive innovation, at least on the field, on the ground? Yeah, Prasad, can
I think Prasad got standstill, maybe some network issues that he's in.
okay. Well, why don't we moved on? And Prasad, if you well,
He's back.
yeah, he's back. Prasad, are you back? Okay. Yes. So if we hear you, we'll pause and we'll get back to you, Prasad. So continue. Oh, I think we can see you moving, but we just don't hear you.
Uh,
But in any case, let's go back to maybe to AJ, maybe to AJ, maybe a question. So let's talk about the opportunities and risk in delivering microfinance and microbanking to this underserved, underbanked communities. I guess let's talk about the opportunities. What are the opportunities do you see in microfinance? Maybe for things like job creation, small medium business empowerment, especially in India and across Asia. And also, actually, this might be more to Prasad, but I'm gonna let you answer it. And what role can government and policy incentive play in scaling the progress of this effort?
okay. It's a great opportunity since the short loans are required to fulfill the requirements or the needs of the consumer. Naturally, the loans are increasing. And yes, there is a job opportunity. The technology definitely plays a role to streamline or a support or for the decision making system, the digitization of the document so the processing are fast. Using the technologies, of course, it comes with the AIML and that digital factor with the mobile one or the mobility gives the simplified application or the processes to the bank employee. There could be a fear that we will lose the job, but I'm against it. My take is we create more jobs because the way we serve more people, the more demand is coming. And having the limited staff currently, the real fact today is bank are not able to process the loans in time. They may be getting 10 loans per day, but they are not able to process 10 loans per day. They process only two. There, the technology gives the major support to these people. Now, when a bank gives the 10 loans, the demand is becomes the 15 loan or a 20 loan per day. So there is going to be an upward direction job creation. What kind of those jobs will be? The jobs will be the people who understand the technology to use into the more meaningful application, whether it's a lending application, whether it's a banking application, or whether it's a support application. And the, the government is also giving the special thrust. Government is also trying to create the jobs because in India, if you look at the credit unions or the credit cooperative societies, they are not digitized yet. So government is giving push them, giving the incentive. So there is a need of a staff, there is a need of a people who can run this credit societies or do the computerization or digitization at these societies. There the job opportunities are more. So the job opportunities are getting created into the geolocation itself. So I don't have to move to or go to the bigger cities. So the jobs are getting available at my near vicinity within a 2 kilometer or 5 kilometer. So I'm strongly saying that yes, it's creating the job, it's creating the opportunities for the people because people needs the instantaneous funds or financing to meet their needs. That's my experience and the take. The risk part of it, the risk is always in the business, either for the recovery or for the repayment. But the technology where we offer, for example, the FinBrain gives the platform enabled in such a way that the proactive alerts are being pushed to the users, guarantors, the loan people who can pay in time. So naturally, there is a compliance factor imposed through the mobility application, where people intend to pay the loans in time. So naturally, the recovery is getting streamlined, and naturally, the risk factor becomes low.
Perfect.
And that's an
So,
experience. Yeah.
is Prasad back?
Yes,
Oh,
I can
perfect.
hear you now.
Wonderful. Actually, we have actually a question. Why don't we take the question before we go? I have a question for Prasad. And this is a question from the audience. Is there an indication of what digitalization of the banking environment done by way of impact on banking fraud in the region? So if I understand the question correctly, what impact does it have, to digitalize the banking environment, as we expand microfinance and microbanking in those communities, how does it impact fraud? I mean, I guess maybe how do we even address? Do we see new frauds, more fraud, and what are your thoughts around the fraud issue? Yep.
Basically, this I think evolvement of this technology has greatly helped in reaching to the people, and as Ajay was discussing, that mobile first, that is the initiative I think that has greatly helped the uh, citizens and communities to enjoy the banking services at large. Because earlier, even though the internet has been introduced, it has been introduced in India way back, but with the introduction of mobile services, it has helped reaching to the rural areas much faster as compared to the internet services and the internet service providers. So, when it comes to banking also, just day before I was going through some stats, and I learned that in the month of April itself, 26 crore people have used the mobile banking application, and the number of transactions done by these 26 crore people were 1,657 crores. So almost you can say that every person has done at least 60 to 65 transactions in a month. So that is a great number, but still considering the population of India, I think it is yet to grow in a larger perspective. And also the major benefit which this communities has got because of this digitization and microfinance is that the empowerment of women who are living in the rural areas, because in rural areas they are the main members of these microfinance companies and microfinance things. Means I think in Asia there are around 49 crore uh, members who are enjoying the benefits of this microfinance. Out of which 10 crores, that is almost 20%, are from India. So for this, even for tech companies like Finbrain also, I think this is a huge market because it is just that 10 crores is the current statistics. But if we go ahead and if we
Oh, did we lose Prasad?
Okay, let me answer the half of the question. So, from the technology perspective, the question is very good. Uh, I would give it into the channel of the transaction. If we look at it, the internet, then the mobile networks, GPS verifiable identity systems, interoperable payment systems on the network, consented data sharing is possible and is being applicable, and there is the technology one used for the open loop discovery and the fulfillment of the networks where digital signature is being used. These are the measures which is being taken care during the DPI, digital public infrastructure, which is created and which is used in India very good. And earlier I was giving an example of the Aadhaar card or the UPI transactions, which has the millions of transactions which Prasad is mentioning. They are happening through this kind of the regulatory compliances where there is a secure payment infrastructure key has been created for each transaction. There is a traceability, there is an audit angle for each transaction, and there are the compliances for the issuer and the receiver. So these are more ineffective to control the frauds and streamline the transaction processes, which gives the smoother experience to the users. Of course, there are the frauds which over and above this they are happening, but with the fraud, the new technology, there could be some the gaps which gets identified by the NPCI kind of organization, and they do the corrective actions which comes as the regulatory compliance which follows by the financial institution.
Yeah, good. I mean, I know it's something that, I'm sure, if it's something that people think about in back of their mind, like, I'm, sending money over the phone. How can I trust, what, so I think there's a role for, for you guys from a technology perspective, from the bank, obviously from the government to make sure that, there is a continued trust. Now, you cannot maybe eliminate every fraud out there, but I think there has to be some transparency and some efforts to kind of educate, how the best practice and especially make it simple for these rural communities to be able to use it. So I think it's going to be a topic. So it'll be interesting to see how, as we expand and grow, what what are the specific fraud that we see and what are the efforts to address them. Prasad, you're back. So maybe I'll let you continue your thoughts on your last before we lost you. But I also have a question for you otherwise.
Yes, please.
Okay. So so let's get back into the you work with the government of India. So there is the Ministry of Cooperation, state level. How I think what I'm trying to understand is how is the government and programs and are helping you and your cooperation and your federation in transforming and enabling microfinance in the rural areas. So what efforts has been done so far?
Basically, government is helping a lot in boosting the microfinance in the rural areas, and that through the cooperative sector and cooperative credit unions basically, and they are also promoting the self-help groups and bank linking programs. Then NABARD is also there. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So even through NABARD and SIDBI also, the government is they are launching various programs to help the improve the capability and the marketing process of self-help groups, because in rural areas the self-help groups are the main customers and borrowers for these microfinances, and even the government is uh, launching one very good initiative that is converting the micro credit union. It has also submitted a proposal to Reserve Bank of India that the government wants at least one bank in each of the district, just to cater the banking needs of the communities, and also to credit unions. It is giving some initiatives for infrastructure development and also for enhancing the capabilities of its members and staff, and spreading the word about the financial literacies and various financial initiatives taken by the government. So all in all, the government is trying very hard. So we hope that in another couple of years, maybe the microfinance industry will see more growth and more reach to the interior parts of the Indian, and it will be a major player in Indian economy also.
Great. I think so. Yeah, I don't think there is a lack of government incentive and help to support this effort. It's just execution and deploying and making sure that we that the plans are in place to make it happen. I want to go back to AJ on some of the risk actually. At least perceived risk for me. It's like when you talk about this underbanked population, there's a risk of indebtedness, which is over indebtedness, over debt, like they and credit among them. So how do you, or your platform manage this, as well as, and then, and I think the other question I have for you also is the bias. We talk about, using AI/ML for credit scoring, for selection, there's a bias on algorithmic bias, at least naturally. So, how do you cater for removing some of these biases? Especially for, sometimes for women, there's a bias against them, at least perceived wise. So maybe just to dispel some of this perceived risk, can you answer that question? Yeah.
Sure. The technology which is used for the FinBrain for the product development is with the open source and which is latest and up to the mark. The technology which is being offered is also with the giving the complete protection of the risk, ensure all compliance, and not only in India, we work into the Middle East, we work into the Africa, Indonesia, and the Asian countries, where we follow the local laws for the rules and regulation of for the compliances. So naturally, our technology team is been hopping on to the best of breed to provide to the customer to protect the interest of the bank, because we know that we work into the financial sector where the compliance and the risk factors are very high. So the state of art technology is being used, and that thanks to the AI and machine learning algorithm which is used into the all processes to define the workflows. So if anything goes wrong within the system itself, the system gives the proactive alert to take a right decision or stop the decision. So the misuse of the technology is getting prevented, and the right usage of the processes with the workflow enables bank give them more comfort for the getting away from the misuse of the technology by the people. So that's a secure platform what we offers, and it has with the always ensure the safety and security of an individual, the bank, the consumer, everyone. So all the stakeholders within the ecosystem has been taken care of it. The second question what you ask is the how to reduce the algorithmic bias. So the the credit scoring is being used by the machine learning. What happens is when a pattern of the series of the transaction happens for any account holder or the loan account, that pattern gives the statistical information which converts into the behavior analysis. That's where the machine learning they start playing the good role for identifying the what is the transaction based credit scoring is happening for that particular account. Sometimes people have difficulties, and in India, particularly, what happens that the people are with the bank for a number of years, say 25, 30 years. Now, onto the regulatory part of it, the CIBIL score or the scorecard which is happening to take a decision has some benchmark. But bank definitely or the cooperative society would definitely would like to deviate and create their own norms. So our platform gives the 4 to 5 type of the credit scoring norms. From that, the bank officer can choose which the pattern has to be selected, which is more appropriate for the decision making. It can be automated as well. So the platform uses everything is in real time. And as I mentioned, it has more than 5,000 data sets which are updating the new features continuously. Naturally, it works with the unbiased algorithm. The machine plays the vital role. The algorithm itself it gets churned out and refined during the based on to the new transaction type of the uh, colors or flavors. So it has its own fabric of designing the system where the technology is playing the bigger role. So the scoring platform, which offers the 4 or 5 type of the credit scoring, that we call it as the alternate credit scoring mechanism. that is also parameterized based on to the new norms has been introduced either by the RBI or by the entity of the regulatory entity like NPCI or the government of India. So those has been taken care and it becomes a dynamic in nature. So it has the good flavor, and that's where I think I give more thrust on to the technology-enabled solution which we offer to the bank, so they don't have to worry about what kind of the algorithmic changes each time we'll have to do it. So that's a dynamical algorithm based what we chosen for, and that's where the two things are helping us. One is the open technology which we are using, and second thing is the uh, mobile first. Our entire focus is based on to the mobile first, where the technology is very concentrated, and the security features are at most required at the mobile than the web or the traditional system.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, let's continue a bit about the conversation. Okay, we lost
Yeah,
Prasad, I think. Okay,
yeah,
so I want to talk about a bit about the regulation and governance. So
okay.
maybe AJ, maybe from your perspective, FinBrain involvement in any collaborative efforts with regulators or industry bodies to shape responsible microfinance practice, both in India and across Asia. Yeah.
Okay, let's understand the microfinance activities for the MSME. The MSME loans remains still isolated within the national borders without the standardization. Thus, the uniqueness which has the different flavors of it. So that mechanism allows the regional pooling and the diversification, which is being handled through our system easily. That's number one. Secondly, the common example which is they using the public infrastructure, that is the internet, mobile network, and GPS. So all those network is being used for either for a data sharing or uh, the using the fulfillment of the data through the networks. So the digital signature or the biometric usage is becoming the key factor. And again, I'm harping on to the mobile and the telecom, where the mobile usage is becoming the primary. So we have used the advanced technology where people can do the digital signature either on OTP based, which is a secured OTP encryption 256 the mechanism, where the authentication goes to the concerned person through the WhatsApp, through the RCS channel, and as well as through the email. So cross verification happens. So there is a less chance of the misuse or the proliferation, and it has the written message with the authentication approval with the consent of the real user. On top of it, the application or the system also has a feature to use the digital signature from the mobile, which can embed into the agreements or the documents which is processed by the bank. So it's actually happening the real time. So, but reducing the risk of the people. Naturally, it saves time, it has the safety features, but the more concern about around the privacy always, the data governance and the potential harm of the vulnerabilities. So the MSME deter the border ecosystem participation, and that is where we should have more on it, and where government is now more focusing because they also understood that the microfinancing in MSME is a bigger business which is coming up, and we need to support. Like Prasad was mentioning about the small group of ladies and the small ticket size union, they need the small loan for a few months. Those activities are for boosting the MSME businesses, whether it's a hawker or whether it's a shopkeeper or whether it's in a private company. So those loan processes are different loan processes. In India, to give you just an example, there are in a retail loan side, there are 22 loan types. In commercial side, there are different commercial loans like the hypothecation, cash credit, and then using the long-term and the short-term loans. So all those loans has been catered through our system, and system is well equipped for that. So it has built in such a way that it not only gives the simplicity, but it has the robustness. It has the major feature of embed with the compliance and the regulatory aspect, where the data protection is the major. The cloud, which is also the secure and has the latest the level 5 architecture data center compliances has been taking place. So that is where we are very sure to offer what technology we are going to promote and offering to the people, to the bank. There is a less vulnerability and the security.
Right. So actually, I was looking at the question Q&A chat here, and we do have a question from one of the audience. What is maybe you have touched this a bit about AI. What is the relevance of AI in credit scoring models for microfinance institutions? So what is the relevance of AI in credit scoring models for microfinance institutions? Yeah.
Okay. The AI is a mechanism. AI not only works on its own, it's a part of the machine learning where you need to do the statistical analysis of the past or existing data to define and understand the microfinancing firm behavior in a better way. Whether we do it manually or whether we do it through the technology. Manually, yes, there are very few people available who understand and have a statistical base, but the statistical base experts create the pattern which is established through the machine learning process and which gives the inputs to the engine which runs onto the AI, where the data churning becomes easy. So that is where the technology or the AI is being used. Now in microfinance, what happens is the business vulnerabilities are very high. Today, my business, I have the good orders, but tomorrow, because of this sudden change into the geospatial or geographical situation, my business gets trimmed. My business gets cut off. So, getting those prediction based on to the data which is available with the bank, that financial analysis is being done through this system where the predictive nature forecasting mechanism can help not only to the bank to offer the right kind of the funding, but also it gives the good inputs to the uh, microfinance owner who runs the business, that what is happening to his business. So it has a dual benefits to the team. I hope I answered the
Yeah, no,
question.
that was a question from one of our Instagram audience. So it was
Oh, okay.
interesting. We are using Instagram, so we're getting question before. But we do have another question, and I know we have a few more minutes, but so let's use this time to answer some questions. So The question is from is what would the future in the field of fintech, or what would be the technology which will be used in banking or microfinance? Um, what is the
Okay.
future of field of what is the future? I guess you're trying to what will be the future of in the field of fintech, or what will be the technology which will be used in banking or microfinance?
I think that's a good question, and I like the question, uh, and it's actually giving my the personal the where I'm actually been very keen on always to talk on this. That today, if we look at from the technology perspective, the traditional technology or the new technology using AI ML versus the telecom. The the people used to feel that the telecom industry development is different and the fintech side and the development is different. But in the recent years, it is been getting proved that this gap is becoming thinner and thinner. And that is where the mobile one technology is getting in place or the standardizations are happening. So I would say one day in near future, the telecom and fintech should get merged into one. Because there is a relevance, my entire authentication of the identity can happen through the telecom or the SIM card. And based on that, what kind of the microfinances or the loans or the financial transaction is required can get performed. And always the authentication happens through the mobile number which I'm using it. Because that's becoming my identity. So no wonder maybe in recent years it can have only one identity that Ajay is tagged with mobile number one for the financial transaction. Ajay is tagged with mobile number two for the social and the media network, and third thing is for the personal use. So these kind of things might come in place where the telecom and the fintech should come closer to see to it that how this merge kind of the technology being offered to the people. So the future is the mobile and the technology around the mobile. That's the answer.
Great. So I actually want to kind of maybe take this discussion outside of India and see how we can, the case study with the urban co-op, with Maharashtra, and what you're doing in India, and then the FinBrain solution itself. Where do you see the markets across Asia? I mean, Indonesia, Vietnam. Where do you see, and what are the specific, how do you replicate this, or if you can replicate this, what are the, I mean, maybe you can share a bit of your
Yeah.
experience working with, across the other Asian countries here.
Yes. Uh, Across the Asian market, if we look at, say, let's take, since you named first is the Indonesia, let's take Indonesia. In Indonesia, Kabupaten, that's the network has been used. That's for the MSME or the credit unions or credit societies. That has been initiated initially by the former president Habib, if I'm not wrong. Habib. So he has established the Kabupaten. That's the collaboration or the collaboration of the people or the society, which is in India we call the credit cooperative banks or the credit cooperatives, so it's a similar kind of a thing. So the in Indonesia is having the strong interest in the cooperative and the empowering SMEs. As of today, yes, there is a strong interest. Now, given the Indonesia's current economic the headwinds, even before the additional strain of the global tariff realignment, or maybe there may be a urgent and timely window to engage the Indonesians, decentralize this Kapupatan network. The MSC securitization and the cooperative digital public infrastructure initiative remains high. And that's where the FinRin solution gets fit very good. We currently are having or in a process of creating a footprint in Indonesia, though it's at very initial stage. But yes, there is a good opportunity, and the platform remains same. It has only the parameter is changed due to the regional approach. Otherwise, platform works seamlessly in any country. That's number one. Secondly, in like an Indonesia, I also would like to touch upon with the Vietnam. Vietnam economy has a deeply affected by the uncertain surroundings of the global tariffs, and they are facing the mounting pressure to diversify the export markets. Obviously, they need the funds to boost the MSME, to boost the businesses. So those loan offering or the lending FinBrain kind of a solution definitely will help them to get the fund instantaneously where they can perform and produce the product in a shortest time, whereby they can encash the market situation. Because as you know, the Vietnam, the manufacturing base is getting more stronger, but they have the financial assistance is a problem where we can solve this. So by leveraging the Asian existence, existing framework for the regional integration, these countries could pilot cross-border MSME. That's another point which I'm bringing now for the discussion. Is the cross-border MSME financing structure, and this which stimulates the intra-Asia trade.
So we have actually, I know we're almost at the hour, but
Yeah.
I guess let's just squeeze in one more question, and because I know we have it's such an interesting topic, we're getting a lot of questions. The question is, how does the RBI regulate society, regulate micro lending activities by both banks and NBFC, as well as fintech companies? I guess, the regulatory from RBI on micro lending activities and fintech. What are the challenges?
Yeah. RBI has a clear downs for the fintech industry, for the cooperative banks, for the urban banks, and the for credit cooperative societies. The lending pattern, the lending regulations remain same, but the operational guidelines and the compliances are differ based on to the what kind of the segment you are working in. Say, for example, for the technology company like us, we are not allowed for certain things because we do not have the lending aggregator license. So we cannot fetch the data unless and until the NBFC or the financial institution gives us the permission to fetch the data for any personal identities, because that has been restricted. But those banks or the financial institution can fetch the data from the regulatory compliance because they need to assess the customer. They need to assess the loan case. So that is where the RBI has the separate rules and regulatory compliances. For micro lending, there is a separate set of the rules for the retail lending and separate set of rules for the MSME lending. So those rules are in place. But today, what the challenges and we are facing is there is no interoperability. And if that interoperability comes, then probably I can go to any kind of the financial institution to get the any type of loan. Today, that is not happening. I have to go for a certain set of the financial transactions where to get my loans. So those things are getting changed. RBI is also changing their norms and becoming more open and open. The opportunities are definitely there to convert those into the meaningful public infrastructure where I explain that open network data platform where ONDC is coming up, and RBI is supporting that.
Okay, thanks, AJ. I know we are past our time, but I do, so as a closing, I do want to thank, I know we don't have the distinguished Prasad Patel, Chief Executive and Secretary of the Maharashtra Urban Co-op Bank Federation Limited. So I just want to thank him here. And AJ, please also when you talk to him, please do thank
Yes,
joining this
sure.
panel. And of course to you, AJ, for for discussing this with me and bringing up the idea and making this happen. So I do appreciate your time and your effort to make this session happen. So it's been very, very insightful for me. I learned a lot from you both about the microfinance market. I hope the audience also benefit. Again, we don't want to stop. My call to action is that, as I said, at MEF, this is what we do. We facilitate collaboration, conversation through our interest group and working group. I encourage, the audience and members to reach out to me or even AJ for any question regarding FinBrain and any question regarding, mobile ecosystem forum. And our plan is to kind of do more of this discussion and hopefully even have more intimate conversation with working groups to address this microfinance. So I would like, to your point, AJ, having the telecom ecosystem is very essential. I mean, all of us, in whether we are infrastructure or application or service provider or security vendor has a role to play, or messaging players. We have a role to play in delivering this solution set to on for this on microfinance. So I like to see our members engage in this discussion and reaching out to you and me on how can we collaborate further in this effort. So thank you again, and I wish everyone, AJ, thank you again to you. And
Yeah, thank you, Matt, for bringing such a nice thought process during the last meeting, and I really appreciate and like the way you pursued. And thanks to the MEF team and Arthur for arranging such a nice webinar.
okay, I wish everyone a good morning, afternoon, evening, and
Yeah.
that's the end of our session. Bye bye.